Hello, Sagittarius. I hope you guys are doing really, really well. My name is Brian. I am your queer psychic bestie, and I have a reading for you guys today. This is going to be a monthly look, a monthly forecast, a look at your August. So if you have Sagittarius anywhere in your chart, if you vibe with Sagittarius, maybe you are a cross watcher, this reading may resonate for you. As always, take what resonates and leave what does not. This is the internet. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you could do that through email or form submission on my website. I actually am restarting this video. I got like 10 or 15 minutes into the reading, and then my computer was like, oop, we're actually going to stop. It just like stopped recording. It's very weird. So Sag, I take everything as a sign. Maybe you're dealing with some technical difficulties right now. I know that we are still in the retrograde, so that could be kind of playing with you a little bit right now, because it's kind of weird for my computer to just like stop recording. Literally during the retrograde, I also did a reading that recorded with no sound, so a little bit weird here, but we're gonna get back into it. For you, it's just starting, but I'm gonna say let's get back into it. So let's dive in. Bottom of the deck is your challenge. We've got the Nine of Cups, you've got the Two of Swords, and you've got the Seven of Cups. For a lot of you in August, the challenge is going to be actively choosing things that speak to you and actively choosing your own happiness here, okay? It feels like with the Nine of Cups as well as the Seven of Cups and the Two of Swords, that's a really big decision-making energy. Seven of Cups is options and Two of Swords is making a choice, okay? So it does kind of feel like a lot of you guys are going to be looking at, you know, what fills my cup, what makes me feel good, what makes me feel happy about the things that I'm doing, and then choosing what it is that you want to pursue, where you really want to go with this, especially in the month of August, okay? So it just is a very large decision-making sort of energy that's showing up for you guys. So let's dive in. You start with the Page of Cups. So what I do think is interesting here is that the Page of Cups is an offer. It does feel like for some of you also in the challenge, you will be either working with people or reaching out to people. The Page of Cups is a reach out. You know, it's someone being like, hey, I'd love to work with you. I'd love to partner with you. But also the Page of Cups can be us doing things and being the one to reach out, not necessarily someone else being like, hey, I'd love to work with you. You know, the Page of Cups is really, it's an emotional offer, you know? So I feel like for a lot of you, especially because it's crossed by the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Swords, in the Celtic Cross, the crossing card is either a help or a hindrance, right? So with the Knight of Swords being your crossing card, I do feel like this is a help for you. The Knight of Swords is the second fastest card in the deck, only second to the Chariot, okay? So it does kind of feel like you guys are charging full steam ahead here. You are going to reach out to someone. You may work with someone. Like I said, for some of you, I'm saying, like I said, like you heard the first part of the video. In the video before, it's not happening anymore, but my ears were heating up, and I said, when my ears heat up, it is my symbol for mental illness. So some of you could be dealing with some mental illness, or could be mental illness in the family. And I feel like when that happens, number one, huge disclaimer, I am not a trained medical professional. Reach out to a doctor if that's you. Secondly, I do feel like mental illness it can really throw us off, right? It's something that a lot of people struggle with. There is no shame about it, but if that is you, it feels like this is something that is plaguing you a little bit here. Because in your clarifiers, this is where I pulled these already. These are your clarifiers. You've got the Knight of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, and the Hermit. It feels like for some of you, you may be going into like some sort of business partnership here. You don't have to be. But it feels like a lot of you are, it's like trepidation here. You know, I feel like a lot of you are like, okay, I need the help. I know I need the help, but what do I do? You know, with that Hermit and the Two of Pentacles here, I do feel like some of you guys struggle to accept help because of a childhood issue here. There's like a wound around admitting. It's like a pride wound, admitting when you need help. And I feel like for some of you, like I said, it can come from childhood here, but it's playing with you a little bit in August because you know that you need this help for whatever this is, whether or not we're talking romance, business, whatever this is. You're aware that someone else, I heard mentor, you know, you're aware that you need a mentor. You're aware that you are going to need someone to sort of step in and help you here, but it's like you really, really don't want to. It's like a very big, like, feeling like I'm doing something to like slight myself. Like, I feel like the way you guys see this is not, you don't see help in a positive way. You see it as a like admittance of I'm not good enough, and that has absolutely nothing to do with people offering help. You know, when someone has the expertise, when they have the skill set that maybe we don't have, but maybe they did it before, so they do have the skill set, it is like a privilege to be able to kind of pick someone's brain like that and be able to work with them so close and be like, okay, well, how did you do it? You know, you learn from their mistakes. They can pass that info on to you. So it feels like for a lot of you guys in August, you're going to need to remain vigilant with your own self-sabotaging tendencies, and remember that there is no shame in asking for help. There is no shame in receiving help. It's a very normal part of life, okay? Because in your headspace here, you have the Two of Cups. So a lot of you are, like I said, you are heavily considering this. I feel like you are aware that you need to do this. Two of Cups is like business partnership, some sort of connection here. It could be romantic for some of you, but it's like you're very, I almost want to say hyper aware that you need this. You're hyper aware that this is where your path is leading you and like this is the next step. But like I said, it feels like there's a lot of trepidation here. Like you really don't want to move forward with it. It's like making a decision that you know is right for you, but you're scared to. Wow, big energies, Sagittarius. This is really faded. The Sun, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Five of Pentacles. With the Sun and the Wheel of Fortune, that's huge, huge divine intervention energy. Okay, that's your guides really stepping in to help you out, to show you the way, to bring you someone who can take you where you need to go. But with that Five of Pentacles, I feel like you are misconstruing this here, okay? You are seeing this through a lens of the hurt child and not adult eyes, okay? You're really seeing this from a place of like, I'm not good enough, so that's why this person is stepping in. That's not the case at all. You know, it's kind of like my guides are showing you, it's kind of funny. You know when you're taking a test in school and the teacher walks around and they walk by and maybe they read your paper and then they point at something and they're like, oh, are you sure you want to, like, are you sure you don't want to double check that one? And we're like, oh my God, yeah, I'll go double check it right now. I feel like a lot of you guys would take that as like, oh, she's telling me I'm a failure, or like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. And I feel like this is just simply the universe stepping in to give you a hand here, to try and like pat you on the back and like scoot you forward a little bit and be like, okay, we're going this way. You need help? Here it is. And I feel like a lot of you guys with the Ace of Wands here and the Six of Pentacles, you're very worried about whether or not this is going to work out for you. You know, like I said, I do Eight of Swords is there. I feel like this is going to work out. I feel like it's on your path for a reason, babe. You know, but with the King of Swords in your physical world, I think you're being a little bit, I'm going to slam you a little bit here. You need to work on being a little bit more open. You know, I feel like some of you, the word I'm hearing, I'm just going to say it, rude. I'd be very careful with coming across rude, Sagittarius. If someone is offering help, or especially if you reach out to someone and you're like, hey, can you help me? And then they show up to help you and you're kind of rude to them, it's a bit abrasive. Obviously, I don't feel like you are doing this maliciously. I don't feel like you're going like, oh, I'm going to like really be rude to this person that's helping me. But for some reason here, your trauma response is coming across as sort of hurtful. And this is in the physical world. This is like not in the mental world, you know? So this is like physically happening. Hierophant? Interesting. Five of Swords, Ace of Swords. Okay. For a lot of you, this is like really strong family trauma. This is like really strong, like you were, I almost want to say trained this way, you know, with the Ten of Pentacles and the Hierophant. I almost feel like you could have had parents that were like, oh, they kind of imparted this lesson on you of you can only trust yourself, you can only help yourself, you can only look out for yourself. And now it feels like with the Five of Swords and the Ace of Swords, you're kind of in this place like, okay, if I can only trust myself, how am I going to succeed here? Yeah, Six of Cups in the challenge with the Queen of Pentacles, which is the mom card. This is a really big mother wound for you. It's like a really big pattern of like a wounding pattern that I feel like you haven't really tackled, you haven't really looked at. And it feels like in August, it's going to be right up in your face. It's going to be right in front of you. You know, with this Hierophant, I will also encourage you, for some of you, the way my guides are giving this to me is like, you need to work on the viewpoints that make your world feel smaller. So Hierophant can also talk about traditionalism. So if we're struggling with like very sort of traditional boxing us in paradigms here of like, let's use an example that's really obvious, like women belong in the kitchen. Obviously it's 2025. We don't believe that anymore. But it feels like, Sag, you're struggling with some belief systems like that, where like it's so old that it's almost like you have this disconnection within yourself of like, oh, I really shouldn't believe this. But then on an internal level, you do. You're going to want to work to like actively disprove these. And you're going to want to work to try really hard to find evidence against these beliefs is what my guides are giving me here, you know, because there's always going to be evidence. You know, there's always going to be a showcase of like why that belief system is wrong, and like why it doesn't really, the word I'm hearing is like it doesn't work anymore. Okay, so I feel like some of you are gonna have to hunker down. Is it hunker? Is that the word I'm looking for? Like hunker down in August and really work to disassemble the way the belief system and the way that you're talking to yourself here. Okay, because in the past you've got the Queen of Wands. You know, it feels like you were at one point in time, this is feminine fire energy, so here we are showing up in our own energy, Sag. Queen of Wands is like high self-esteem, high boundaries, high self-worth. It feels like at one point you were in a seat of power here. You know, you were very self-sufficient. You were very, you believed what you told yourself. It's like you didn't fall into the trap of believing someone else here. It's almost like coming back to this, like coming home to yourself. Yeah. Three of Swords in reverse and Judgment. Some of you suffered some sort of like big heartache here in the past that caused this idea to shift. Yeah, Judgment and the King of Swords with the Three of Swords. Three of Swords is in reverse, which is telling me you did try to heal from this. But it does sort of feel like some of you suffered some sort of big heartbreak here, and then it's like you blamed it on yourself. You kind of swung really heavy from one side to the other, and we're just like, oh, well, this is my fault. Like, I wasn't smart enough. Like, I wasn't resourceful enough. Like, I deserved this. And it feels like your guides are really trying to shake this belief out of you. You know, they're really trying to highlight for you that everyone has free will. You know, people hurt us sometimes as a result of their own actions. And this is like, as harsh as this sounds, this is a very fundamental part about being human, is that we can't control other people. We can only control our reaction. And it feels like you gave away a lot of your power by getting hurt and then being like, oh, well, like, I deserved it. Or like, I should have done better. I should have been prepared for this, you know? And the way my guide actually just said this to me is like, there's no good way to prepare for heartache. We can't prepare for every wound, Sag. It's part of the human experience to get hurt, okay? We can't sit around and build this like bulwark around ourselves to protect ourselves from every single thing that might ever cross our paths. You know, and I feel like a lot of you are mad at yourself that you can't do this. But again, the anger that you feel is misplaced because no one can do this. No one can bubble wrap themselves and never be hurt in their lives, okay? Everyone gets hurt. I've had so many heartbreaks, I've lost count. You know, some of you need to recognize here that this is not a personal indictment. This is not a flaw of yours. This is not like a personal attack against you. You just happened to get hurt, babe. Okay? In your near future, you have the Six of Wands in the reverse. I feel like a lot of you guys here, again, like moving from the past into the future, now you have a very deep fear of it's not going to work out for me. And I feel like the universe is kind of making you make choices and making you choose things that are difficult for you to show you that things can work out for you, but also to show you that, like, you have a lot more strength and resilience than you think you do here. Okay? The way my guides are saying this to me is like, you know, when you have like the flu or something and you're like, oh my God, you feel so bad. You're like, I will literally never survive it. And then you do. That's literally what this feels like to me. It feels like whatever the trigger is that's coming in for you in August, it brings up again that feeling of like, I will never survive this. But you will, babe, because you will persevere. You are stronger than you think here, okay? You're much more resilient than you think as well. Yeah, Two of Wands and the Nine of Swords. You have to start working on your mental landscape, okay? And the Devil. What I call the mental landscape is all of our thoughts, all of our beliefs. The mental landscape shapes the physical world. Right now, your mental landscape is very dreary. You know, the Devil, the Nine of Swords, and the Two of Wands. That's like, I want to go to sleep for a week. You know, it's very, there's a lot of exhaustion in your energy too here, Sag, because as I'm like getting further into your reading, I'm getting more and more tired. So some of you, like I said in the beginning, this could be a case of clinical depression. Like I'm getting literally exhausted as I go through this reading. And I feel like with that Six of Swords and the Devil, some of you guys are just in this place of, I want to cocoon myself and never leave, you know? And I feel like your guides are showcasing to you again that you have so much more determination than you think, and you have so much more fight left inside of you. Oh, they're playing a song for me. I think it's literally just called Try by, I want to say it's by Colby Calais. I feel like I always say her name wrong. You just have to try. Listen to that song, Sagittarius. There's some stuff in there for you. Okay. Sometimes, you know, I'll tell you also, like, the only thing we can expect from ourselves is our best. Sometimes our best looks like I sleep for 11 hours and then in the middle of the day take a nap. That's okay. It is okay to have bouts of sadness, to struggle with maybe literal clinical depression. It is okay for all of these things to happen. What I feel like your guides are trying to showcase to you is that this doesn't have to be always. This doesn't have to be a constant in your life. You don't always have to be fighting. You can ask for help. Maybe for some of you, the help is going to come from medicine, reaching out to a trained professional, you know, and others of you, the help is going to come from a business partner, someone who wants to show you the reins, like I said, but you have to be open to receiving the help. Not because you need it, but because you want it. Okay? This is the difference. It's like some of you, you think you need the help because you're unsuccessful. No, babe. It's just easier to be successful with help. You know? It's almost like I had some friends. I'll give you a real world example. I used to be a hairdresser. I had some friends that graduated beauty school and went straight into salons that gave them chairs and gave them clients. I, on the other hand, was an assistant, I almost said a hairdresser, a shampoo girl for like almost 2 years. And then I was a junior stylist, and then I became a stylist, and then I was a salon suite owner. You know, those years that I spent assisting and training and learning taught me an incredible amount. An imperceivable amount of knowledge was passed on to me during that time, okay? My friends that didn't get that struggled. They'd call me up and be like, how do you do this haircut? Can you come show me? Can you teach me? Can you help me? That's the difference. That's what I mean. There was nothing, it's not that my friends were failures because they came out of beauty school and were given a chair. It's not that they were less than me, but they lost out on that opportunity to learn that I had because I stayed an assistant, because I did not move up right away. Do you see what I mean here, Sag? In that, like, that's the example, because you needing the help doesn't make you less than. It doesn't, but it makes your life easier. I learned so much in those years, and it made my life a lot easier when I did get behind the chair. There was seldom anyone asked me for something behind the chair that made me go, I have to think about that. You know, that's the difference here, babe, okay? In your how you view yourself, you have the Wheel of Fortune. So I do feel that you are aware that the gears are turning, you know, things are moving, and it feels like your life is propelling forward, but it feels like you're a little disarmed about it. You know, you're like, oh my God, things are moving so fast. What do I do? Ooh, that was fast. Damn. Page of Swords. Yeah. I think some of you are really struggling with perfectionism in this month. Like, really, really strong. Yeah, 3 of Wands, 8 of Wands, and the High Priestess. I feel like some of you guys, which I think is strange because of what we just talked about on the other end of, like, not accepting help, you think that you have to be meticulous about everything. Like, everything should take an exorbitant amount of time. And, it's almost like, not to give you another hairdresser example, but I knew girls that would do haircuts and they'd book themselves for 30 minutes and they'd finish at like 30 minutes on the dot. I booked myself 45 minutes. Babe, you don't have to do, this is like you taking a haircut and booking yourself an hour and a half for it. You don't need to take an hour and a half for the haircut. You know what you're doing here, babe. Maybe some of you are literal hairdressers, you know, or nail techs. You know what you're doing. It's not going to take you, let's say you're a nail tech, it's not going to take you 5 hours to do a set, especially if it's short nails. You know, like, I feel like some of you guys, it's like you have this weird thing where you're like, on one hand, I don't want help because that makes me a failure. And then in the next one, you're like, okay, but I have to take a really long time to do something because it has to be absolutely perfect. Has to be down to the letter perfect. And I feel like with the High Priestess here, you know, your own intuition is like, listen, babe, no, you don't need this much time. You don't need to check your haircut 6 times. You know, I feel like some of you guys, the perfectionism, it gets in the way of you feeling more comfortable within yourself, feeling comfortable within your craft, you know, pushing yourself outside of that comfort zone a little bit. And I feel like a lot of your guides are trying to highlight this for you because you're going back and forth here in such a, like, I'm not going to call it a silly way, but like a strange way. Do you see what I mean? Like, everything has to be, I'm going to fail at everything, or I have to be perfect at everything. It's like you're swinging violently between 2 polar opposites here. Because your superpower is the 4 of Wands. You know, you're committed to your goals here, babe. You know, I don't think that this is anything of like, you're half-assing or you're not committed or you're not putting your all into this. It's like your superpower is the 4 of Wands. If you want something, you go after it. If you're committed to it, you're committed to it. You know, and you know exactly what's going on. This is really a lot of like mental gymnastics that I feel like August is really going to bring to your attention. You know, it kind of reminds me again, I don't mean to keep using this as an example, but it's like, my guides they want me to talk about it as an example. Maybe it's obvious for you. There would be times when I was learning how to cut hair where I knew what I was doing. It was the same haircut I had done over and over and over again, especially when I was a junior stylist and I was apprenticing under my teacher. And I would stop mid-haircut and I'd look over at her and I'd be like, you know, I'd hold the piece of hair up with the guide and be like, is this where I need to cut? And she'd be like, you know exactly what you're doing. Stop asking for me for help. You don't need it right now. That's what I feel like you guys need to recognize here, okay? If you're my apprentice, this is the moment where I'm going to tell you, you don't need my help. I don't need to tell you where to cut. You know how to do this haircut, babe. You know what you're doing here, okay? You are committed. You've put in hours of time, effort, sweat, blood, tears, money. You know, you need to walk away from this idea that you're like flying by the seat of your pants. I think is the expression here. Like, with that Empress and the Two of Cups and the Eight of Cups, you are very well prepared, Sagittarius. You are a lot more prepared than you are really willing to give yourself credit for. Okay? And I feel like your guides are really trying to highlight this for you and show you, hey, look, you're so capable. Sorry, my throat is hurting. You know, you're very capable. You are perfectly equipped to do the thing that you want to do here. Okay? I just feel like you're prepared. You're ready. Like I said, even if you're apprenticing under someone, asking for help, whatever this is for you, you're prepped. I don't know how else to say that to you, Sagittarius. Because your fear here is the Five of Swords. Your fear is that you're going to self-sabotage it. If we are aware of our self-sabotaging tendencies, it becomes easier to stop. Because we can literally stop and be like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Am I self-sabotaging? Okay, this is a moment of, like, pause. You know, I feel like that's how you're going to remind yourself that you are not self-sabotaging and keep yourself from self-sabotaging is by pausing. Knight of Swords and the Emperor. Babe, Emperor, Empress, you are so well balanced. You possess so many amazing good qualities. You're so much more put together than you think. With that Knight of Swords and Strength, you're heading for success here. You know, like, this is quite literally, if let's say you're an assistant about to be a hairdresser, babe, you're getting a chair. You know, like, you're doing the damn thing here, Sagittarius. You have to have more faith in yourself. Okay? You are so much more well-equipped than you think with the Emperor and the Empress here. Have some faith with the Strength and the Knight of Swords. Being successful here will also show you, will prove to you that you are successful. It is true that when we do something well, it makes us feel good. And then we get a little bit more confident. And then a little bit more confident. And a little bit more confident. Okay? That's what's happening here. You're gonna prove to yourself, you're like, oh shit, I killed this. You know, I crushed this haircut. I'm really good at this haircut and I'm going to do it again. You know, you need to have that oomph in you, because even your outcome here is literally the Emperor. I mean, you have it literally twice. Let me get the other one out. The Emperor literally twice. You're really bossing the fuck up here, babe. This is boss bitch energy. Okay? And I feel like you're going to prove to yourself that you are capable. You're also going to disprove the people that said you weren't. Yeah, Four of Pentacles. Stop holding back. Show the world. Okay? You have so much talent in you. You have so much drive and passion in you. Show the world. Dare to be seen, Sagittarius. Dare to be perceived this month. Okay? Let people see just how far your talents are going to take you. And just how far your determination and your oomph is going to take you. Okay? Let's get you an oracle card. This is the Angelarium. It is my favorite oracle deck. I use it literally all the time. If you've watched any videos of mine, I've used it. You've seen it. So let's get you. Can I get an oracle for August for Sagittarius, please? Thank you. Interesting. I think Leo got this card, but in another. This deck is split up to the Angels Before the Fall and After. I think Leo got this, but after the fall. You guys have Ananiel, Angel of Storms. Interesting. Okay, let's read it. Ananiel, where are you? Oh, found it. 45 for those of us into numerology. Okay. This is a reminder that what is done cannot always be undone. You may be gathering your will to make a move that will bring you beyond a threshold that you cannot come back from. This storm might carry you far, or it will hurl you beneath the waves. Summon what you will, but be prepared to relinquish control when your creations grow beyond you. Okay? Like I said, you have a very big leap of faith coming, and you have to trust that your instincts, your toolkit, your intuition, everything will take you where you need to go. All right? Sagittarius, that is your August at a glance. I am going to end the reading there. If this reading resonates with you or my reading style resonates with you, do consider liking and subscribing. We are on the way to, I almost said 100. We just passed 100 subscribers. We're on the way to 200 now. So yeah, if you guys would like to interact with me on a live basis, I do go live 3 days a week on Twitch. Wednesday and Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. EST, as well as Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. EST. Okay? I hope to see you over there on Twitch, guys, and Sagittarius. If not, that's okay. I will just catch you in the next video, all right? Bye.